Welcome, everyone, to another deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're wading into some really deep waters. We're contrasting how, standard science views the world with a pretty radical alternative, sometimes called spiritist science.
Hmm.
And we'll be exploring what this means, particularly for understanding the soul and, well, the idea of an invisible reality may be closer than we think.
Exactly. And our main guide for this is Leon Denis's work, A Ciencia Espírita, Alma y Mundo Invisible. Specifically, we're looking at the first chapter of No Invisible, A Ciencia Espírita. It's a really foundational text for this viewpoint.
Right. So our mission really is to see how certain phenomena, things maybe often brushed aside, could actually challenge our whole grasp on reality.
Yeah,
And we'll also get into what Dennis suggests about the soul's own capabilities. Could be quite eye-opening.
definitely.
So when we think about science, usually we picture it as, the ultimate explainer, definitive, all-encompassing.
That's the standard image, absolutely. The bedrock.
Yeah, the bedrock. But Dennis, right from the start, throws a bit of a curveball.
He really does. He offers this provocative critique. He calls traditional science the sum of a century's conceptions,
Okay.
which the science of the next century surpasses and submerges. So right away, he's saying, look, this isn't the final word. He stresses that from this angle, everything is provisional and incomplete.
Provisional and incomplete. That really reframes it, doesn't it?
It completely reframes it.
Okay.
It challenges that idea of absolute scientific truth. And he gets specific about the limits. He says, sure, it studies laws of movement, manifestations of force and life,
Uh-huh.
but it knows nothing yet about the acting causes, force, and movement in their principle.
So the what, but not the why, or the how at the deepest level.
Exactly. He states it pretty bluntly. The problem of life escapes it, and the essence of things remains an impenetrable mystery for it.
Wow. And he doesn't stop there, right? He goes after the methods themselves.
He does. He calls the methods indigent.
Indigent, like impoverished.
Yeah, basically, woefully inadequate. He says they do not lend themselves at all to the much vaster study of the world of spirits.
So the tools are wrong for the job, essentially. It makes you think, doesn't it? What does this perspective challenge in your own understanding of what science can truly explain?
Well, for me, it really pushes back against that idea of scientific infallibility. The assumption that if our current tools can't measure it, it must not be real.
Right. It suggests maybe the map isn't the territory.
Precisely. There could be whole dimensions our current science just isn't equipped to see.
Okay, so if traditional science has these blind spots, this is where it starts to get really interesting. With the phenomena it often dismisses.
Yes. Denis argues that these psychic phenomena, things like telepathy, maybe clairvoyance, spirit communication, they aren't just anecdotes. He says they actually demolish their theories on the nature and destiny of being.
Demolish them. Strong word.
Very strong, because it directly contradicts the standard materialist view,
Oh.
which generally sees the soul or consciousness as just a result of the organism with which it extinguishes. Lights out when the body dies.
Okay.
But Denis flips that completely. He posits the soul is a cause that pre-exists and survives the body.
Whoa. Okay, so not an effect, but a cause. It pre-exists and survives.
Exactly.
What does that do to our understanding of who we are? Our identity, our purpose? It changes everything.
It potentially changes everything, yes. And according to Denis, this soul isn't just some vague concept. It's described as being endowed with a fluidic form.
A fluidic form, like an energy body.
Sort of, yeah. Think of it as an imponderable, subtle body with its own intimate organisms, its own structure, but not physical in our sense.
Okay.
And crucially, it possesses senses of its own, distinct from bodily senses.
Senses.
Yes, which apparently activates it when the soul exercises its superior powers.
Okay, let's unpack this fluidic form. If it's this kind of energetic blueprint, how does Dennis say it allows the soul to do things like detach during sleep or near death, to penetrate matter, transpose space, perceive the realities of the invisible world? That sounds, extraordinary.
It does sound extraordinary. The text explains it through the idea of radiations, effluvia, that emanate from this fluidic form.
Radiations, like energy fields.
Kind of like invisible emanations or energies, yeah. And these can apparently exteriorize in concentric layers to the human body.
Uh-huh.
And here's the kicker. And even in certain cases, condense in various degrees and materialize to the point of impressing photographic plates and recording devices.
Wait, materialize? Like become physically detectable?
That's what Denis suggests,
Yeah.
that these subtle energies aren't just theoretical. They can, under certain conditions, interact with the physical world enough to leave a trace.
Hmm. So what does this suggest about the boundaries of our perception? Are our physical senses just scratching the surface?
That's definitely the implication, that the soul's capacities potentially go far beyond what our five physical senses can register.
So if these energies exist and can, interact, Dennis must offer some examples, right? Some evidence for this kind of action.
He does. He talks about the action at a distance of one soul upon another.
Action at a distance, like telepathy.
Exactly. He says this is established by telepathic and magnetic phenomena, by the transmission of thought and exteriorization of senses and faculties.
Okay, so how does he say that works? What's the mechanism?
Well, the idea is that vibrations of thought can propagate in space like light and sound and impress another fluidic organism in affinity with that of the manifestant. The manifestant is the person sending the thought.
Affinity. So like a resonance,
Yeah.
a connection.
Yes, precisely. There needs to be some kind of connection or compatibility. And these psychic waves, as he calls them, propagate afar and awaken in the sensitive's envelope impressions of various natures, visions, voices, or movements.
Like receiving a signal, but on a psychic level.
That's the idea, a direct, energetic transfer between souls, mediated by these fluidic forms.
That concept of affinity is really interesting. It makes you wonder about those deep connections we feel with certain people, doesn't it? Maybe it's more than just shared interests.
It certainly opens up that possibility, a deeper, energetic resonance.
So we've got this fluidic form, subtle energies, action at a distance. Where does Dennis take this next? What's the, ultimate proof he points to?
But he moves towards what he considers a really compelling, positive demonstration of the independence of the soul.
Okay, I'm listening.
He focuses on apparitions of the dying.
Those stories you hear about people seeing a loved one right around the time they pass away, even if they're miles apart.
Exactly those. Dennis claims these have been proven thousands of times and are well documented, especially by psychic investigation societies of his time.
Documented how?
He cites, for instance, Mr. Flammarion, who was a famous astronomer, not just some mystic.
Right, a respected scientist.
Yes. And Flammarion apparently reports 100 such cases, with coincidence of death, where mere hallucinations cannot be admitted, but general facts with cause and effect relation.
So Flammarion saw a pattern, not just random stories, but a real connection between the apparition and the moment of death.
That's the argument. Consistent patterns suggesting something more than coincidence or delusion. And this leads Dennis to pose a really sharp question.
Which is?
If intelligence just ends with death, if it's purely biological, it could not be explained how, at the moment when the body is most debilitated and the organism ceases to function, this intelligence often manifests with greater intensity, with an extraordinary resurgence of activity.
That's a powerful point. Like, why would consciousness peak precisely when the physical body is shutting down?
Exactly. It seems paradoxical from a purely materialist standpoint.
So what's Dennis's explanation?
His conclusion is that the very detachment from the body grants the spirit a new field of perception. The soul isn't fading, it's being liberated, in a sense.
Liberated?
Yes. He says the soul shows, at the moment of death, faculties, qualities superior to those it possessed in the normal state.
Superior faculties. Wow. So the takeaway here isn't just survival, but maybe even enhancement.
That's what Dennis presents, yes.
Yeah.
Clear evidence, in his view, of the soul's independence from the physical body and its inherent, perhaps even greater capabilities when freed from it.
Okay. So what does this all mean? It feels like we've covered a lot of ground.
We certainly have. We've journeyed through this perspective that sees traditional science as, well, limited in scope.
Right.
And we've explored Leon Denis's case for the soul being independent, having these amazing capabilities, drawing on things like telepathy, magnetism, and especially that compelling evidence around apparitions at death.
And that core idea really stands out as the soul not just being a result of the body,
Yeah.
but as Dennis puts it, a cause that pre-exists and survives. Something with its own senses, its own form, able to act beyond the physical.
Precisely. And that leaves us with a really profound question to ponder, doesn't it?
Cool.
Well, if the soul does possess this kind of independence, these superior faculties, especially near death, if it can communicate across distance, maybe even affect matter, what does that truly imply?
Yeah.
What does it mean for our understanding of consciousness? of existence itself? What does it suggest about the very fabric of reality? And maybe most importantly, what new possibilities does this open up for you to consider about the world and maybe about your own hidden potential?